Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey everybody, happy Monday to you. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to be talking about Mr. Kohberger. Hold on, let me get my soundbite.
Bryan Kohberger.
That is today's topic. Just so you know, hello, Olip. Thank you for coming in and modding. Angie B, thank you for coming in and modding. Katie K and Jackie and Ems and Melissa B are here today. We got Night Miss Nightbot and Global. And Ruby Slippers. What's up, guys? Peaky, what is happening? You did miss it, Katie K. How could you miss that? Mark Klein, come on back in, dude. He said he's star watching and throwing his garbage in baggies with his gloves. Don't judge Mark Klein today. Sharon Ostrander from Brittany J's channel. Thank you. Thank you, Brittany J. Wah, wah, wee. Wah, wah, wee. Wah, wah, why. But we're going to talk about Cy. Mr. Cy. This is going to be Bryan Kohberger's, star witness. So there's this article that someone sent me and said, you need to look at this. You need to look at this for this Cy Ray. Colorado judge finds, quote, sea of unreliability in cell phone mapping data used by police. Yikes. Yikes. His alibi? Kendi, hello, Kendi. Kendi is here. The gang is here.
The devil is dancing tonight.
Now, this is from October 17th. We're going to get right into it. If you haven't hit that like button, please hit the like button. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to be live again tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with some Daybell updates and highlights. Some pretty juicy stuff came out today in the Daybell trial, such as Lori giving Chad Daybell an ultimatum when he was with his family, when he was with Tammy. When Tammy was still alive, Chad Daybell, or Lori Vallow, gave him an ultimatum. What do you guys think of that? That could be Jana Banana. That could be his next filing. A UFO hovered over 1122 King Road on that night. It's making my eye twitch. I can't imagine how the Gonsalves and the Kernodles and the other families feel. I don't want to say anything about the other families because they haven't really spoken out. Good afternoon, Lucia and Island Crafts. Island Thrifts. Why did I say crafts? God almighty.
Did I ask them to do that?
What's up, Lacey? True crime and other stuff. Hello, Allison. Neuroscience for all. Hello. Well, welcome in, guys. We're going to go over this article about what happened in Colorado. And I'm wearing my Colorado shirt. That was really not planned. Who would have known? So anyways, we're going to talk about this Colorado judge and what Cy's work is and what happened. I know, she's crafty. She gets around. She's crafty. She's always down. Highland Crafts. Fuck, I can't. Okay, so it says Colorado judge finds sea of unreliability in cell phone mapping data used by police. Now, I was a little confused when I skimmed over this, so we're gonna go over this together and kind of talk through it because there's a lot of information. It's a really long article, so buckle up, buttercups. I don't think this guy is all he's cracked up to be. Katie K, thank you so much. Katie K coming in hot with a 100K celebration super chat.
Coming in hot, coming in hot.
just like the fajita. Thank you. I did see Nancy Grace pulling up the weather report. Neuroscience, thank you. Neuroscience said, Jay, I think you are just the girl to talk about what Ray does and doesn't do. And I was like, damn, someone actually thinks I'm the girl to talk about something. Because you know what? Actually, before we get into this article, I did want to share something with you guys. I got my first, nasty email, dude. I have never gotten such a nasty email. And I want to share it with you. Because I was actually floored. I didn't cry or anything, but I was just like, wow. Wow. Okay, so let me get it up here. And they didn't even sign their name. If you're going to write me and say this kind of stuff, I mean, it was really quite bad. D Cubs is their name. DKUBS. Let's get this up on the screen. I mean, they're telling me my soul's dark and all kinds of shit, guys. You want to see? Oh, dude. I mean, this is beyond. I wouldn't even say this shit to somebody. This person doesn't even know me. But they know a lot about me. They knew I had a granddaughter, and they actually brought that up in the email. So here it says, facts is the subject line. Okay. I don't know why I'm freezing. Is it doing that for y'all? Are y'all freezing? I just feel like I have too much stuff open. Hold on. Did you guys listen to the Jam of the Day, members? Downtown by Macklemore? I was thinking of Katie Proudfoot. Have you ever felt the warm embrace of a leather seat between your legs? Go listen to the Jam of the Day. Okay, here we go. I think I've got it now. All right, here we go. So D Cubs at Proton Mail. So they got this Proton Mail business going on. Congratulations on making the tragedy pimp revolting list. How the fuck what did I do that was revolting, yo? It's disgusting what you all have been doing to not only this case, but others with your drama rumors, accusations, lies, and clickbait for a missing child, all while covering your screen with donation links, sub count, monthly count, and super chat count. How low will you go to get those numbers up and cash in on a child? What a despicable human being you and some of the others are to jump on the bandwagon and milk this case for whatever you can. Your soul is dark as a mother and grandmother yourself. I can't wrap my head around the tactics you use with no conscience for personal gain. All this is hurting the case. Not helping, but hey, the longer he goes missing, the more you can spread your evil and vile lies to keep it going, right? I mean, isn't that what you are doing in the name of finding Sebastian? There are many good, reliable, and trustworthy creators in true crime that do not exploit the missing, attack parents, and don't use drama or speculation. They report the facts that LE provides and have the moral integrity not to cross the lines as you do. I'm not even done yet. See what I mean? J is for Justice speculates, and I get attacked. It's like, why can't I speculate? Everybody else can do the motherfucking shit. Once I start speculating, everybody gets pissed off. I hope parents will look at these streams and see what is being said and start suing you for all the defamation and added mental stress you brought upon them by deliberately putting your crap out into the public. That can put these cases in jeopardy. You can't claim, allegedly, opinions, allegations, freedom of speech, press, journalists, or any other excuse either. Not how it works in a court of law. Thankfully, every stream that is done by you tragedy pimps covering the missing has been recorded and saved by those who care, ready and willing to provide the parents, family members, police, courts, etc., to show what was going on. But more importantly, naming which social media creators, channels who played a part in it. Channel numbers don't mean a thing. It could fall as fast as you climb to the top. And once your credibility is gone, so will those followers and money you love so much. Just stop. I have no idea who this is. K-Dubs at Proton Mail, or D-Cubs, D-K-U-B-S at protonmail.com. I mean, you could have at least signed it. I mean, you're going to throw this shit out at me. And they sent this to me on a Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon. I've never even talked to these parents. This is the kind of ish that goes on. It just came yesterday, 23 hours ago. So I just wanted to share that. Definitely, I don't know what they're even talking about and why they're so angry at me. I had a couple call-in shows on this case. Did a few videos where we watched actual press conferences and stuff. So I'm not sure what their fucking deal is, but hey, what are you gonna do? You can't please them all. But for someone like when I don't like somebody or something, damn, I mean, I know, Therese, I know. Somebody emailed that to me, yeah. Yep. Tragedy pimp, I guess it means that you take advantage of, tragedies. I know, it's not very nice. I mean, there are people like that on this platform, but they came at me, man. All right, so anyways, moving past that, if you are the writer of that email, I have a message for you. Go watch somebody else. Go watch somebody else. Why do you know that I'm a grandma if you hate me so much? Don't even worry about me being a grandma.
Why about yourself?
I mean, that's the best thing you can do. When you ain't happy, you worry about your damn own self.
Fuck directly off.
All right, moving on. No, it's definitely not normal. Allison, the true meaning is in the first few sentences. Tragedy Pimps is a great band name. Yeah, I pimp them out. I haven't even talked to any of these people. Oh, well, that's my new title, y'all. I have reached the depths of the YouTube street gutters. Jana, do you mind if I pimp you out? Let me know. All right, let's get into today's live, guys. Betsy Leak, you are so amazing. Thank you for being a member for 28 months. That is so awesome, and thank you so much for your PayPal donation. That was so sweet of you. Okay, I know, Scott H. Let's just breathe. All right. Police and prosecutors in Colorado and throughout the nation, this is from late last year, October, are relying on a company's cell phone location mapping data to help them convict criminal defendants. But a Larimer County judge's recent ruling cast doubt on the technology when he barred its use in his courtroom after finding it unreliable and prone to error. Do we think that this could happen? In Bryan Kohberger, do you think that Judge could bar his technology? The defense lawyer in that case and an expert witness for the defense say the ruling by the judge could have far-reaching consequences for past criminal convictions and pending criminal cases that relied on the company's cell phone mapping software. Prosecutors and law enforcement throughout the nation have been using data produced by this application to show juries evidence and get convictions in criminal cases, said the defense lawyer Lee Christian. Now it's been ruled as junk science. Junk science! How many juries were overly influenced by something not scientific and false? What do you think of that? They're literally calling this Ray's work junk science. The September 20th ruling. Now, remember, this is the guy that's supposed to prove that Bryan Kohberger wasn't supposed to, he wasn't supposed to be there. He was out at this Wawa Woo park. This guy is supposed to be the one that proves it. The technology goes both ways now with the new alibi. She does have Judge Judge's balls in her purse. Well, I think Judge Judge just doesn't have any balls. He never makes a decision. And Mark Klein, you are so damn sweet. Thank you so much, Mark Calvin Klein. The September 20th ruling that District Judge Juan Villasenor, I don't know if I'm saying that right, prohibited prosecutors from using cell phone mapping technology from a company founded by a former Arizona police officer in the trial of a 43-year-old defendant charged with 3 felony counts of stalking. So this person was charged with stalking. And guess what? They threw Ray's technology out the window. What do you guys think of that? Prosecutors ended up dropping the stalking charges, though a jury ended up convicting the defendant last month in a companion case of a misdemeanor assault charge that did not hinge on the cell phone data. See, this is where I get confused. If it was junk science and wasn't able to be used, they couldn't prove that he stalked this person without it? Let's keep going. The judge did not take aim at all cell phone mapping data, which is widely used by law enforcement. Rather, his ruling was limited to Trax mapping software from Chandler, Arizona-based ZX, which produces aerial maps prosecutors and police use to estimate the location of a defendant's cell phone during an alleged crime. Estimate. Do you hear that? Estimate. In 2021, the analytics data corporation LexisNexis acquired ZX. In sum, Trax and its methods have been routinely and sharply admonished by the scientific and legal community. And the people haven't directed the court to any evidence showing otherwise. And that's what the judge said. Look at this monkey driving this fucking car. What? Look at this ad. It's very likely that a jury would be misled by Trax's flashy maps. This judge thought that the jury would be misled. It's very likely that a jury would be misled by Trax's flashy maps and seemingly accurate results. But underneath those surface displays lies a sea of unreliability that the jury won't see. Now, the Gazette reported this, and the Gazette found at least 18 other criminal cases during a 2-year stretch from 2016 to 2018 that relied on ZX's track technology, including a double homicide conviction in Weld County. We're coming first full circle. We're back to Weld County where the Chris Watts case happened. You can't make it up. The law enforcement agencies that used the ZX track technology include Colorado Springs, El Paso County Sheriff's Office, as well as Fort Collins. Denver police say they do not use Trax software from ZX. The ramifications of this ruling could be statewide and even nationwide. Every case that was decided based on information presented by ZX using Trax could be reviewed and overturned.
What?
Trax produces aerial maps that plot the location of historical cell site location and GPS data for cell phones. Police and prosecutors use those maps to identify for juries the estimated location of cell phones carried by defendants and their victims at the time of a crime. So I'm still trying to figure out what's the problem with this. Trax produces aerial maps that plot the location of historic cell site data. Oh, I already read that. Other companies produce cell phone location maps police use. But the maps produced by other companies don't go as far as ZX does in determining an estimated location of a particular cell phone. The competitors of ZX identify a cell phone tower antenna that cell phone records indicate was in use. But those firms typically show only the direction of the cell phone tower antenna the cell phone was using, indicating a broad general swath where a cell phone could have been located. So they're saying that this ZX actually narrows down the location better. There is a buzzing humming. There is? Is it bad? Is there still? Y'all, can you hear me okay? Let me know if it's better now. So anyways, they're saying that this can zoom in and it can actually pinpoint the location better. Hang on, now I have to listen. Mark. You can't hear nothing? Oh, it would help if I turned off my Bluetooth. I'm jamming my own voice outside. That's precious. Pinpoint the location better. Yeah, now I have to listen. Oh, you know why you hear that? Because I have a fan on. I shouldn't have that fan on. Hold on. That could be part of the problem is background noise. Can you hear it still? Let me know. I can't fix it completely right now. But you should hear like air. It's like an air sound. Kind of, sort of. You're old and always have a buzzing sound. That's okay. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. I don't know. You might still have a little feedback, but it's okay. They just have a hangover from 420. It's okay. Yeah. Right, Lisa Rose? Okay. So anyways, in contrast, ZX draws a concentric circle around a cell phone tower and produces maps that indicate a cell phone using that tower likely was located within that circle. The founder of ZX, Cy Ray, a former sergeant in the Gilbert Police Department in Arizona, claims the maps produced by Trax he created are 94 to 96% accurate. So Cy Ray is saying, bullshit, Judge. My shiz is 100%. 100%, no, 94 to 96% accurate. Police and prosecutors find ZX maps particularly compelling because they reduce ambiguity for a jury and allow law enforcement to dramatically reduce the area where they estimate a cell phone was located. Now, this is where it gets crazy on Mr. Cy Ray. The judge found that Ray, who did not return telephone messages seeking comment for the article, was not a credible witness. Was not a credible witness, y'all. This judge in Colorado said, nope. He inflated his credentials, inaccurately claiming to be an engineer. The judge wrote in his ruling. It's okay, Jody. stressing that Ray has testified that he is, quote, more of an engineer than an engineer. So this guy's not an engineer, but he says he's more of an engineer than an engineer. As noted, his sole academic degree is an associate's degree. This dude is walking in there with an associate's degree.
What?
This is what the judge says. As noted, his sole academic degree is an associate's, and there's no evidence that it's related to engineering, nor is there evidence that Ray's taken any engineering classes. To be sure, he's created a booming business and has successfully pitched tracks to several law enforcement agencies, but a sound business model doesn't equal an accurate error rate. So this is the judge writing this about this Cy Ray. So the judge also said in his ruling that he found 3 earlier cases in which challenges to the use of ZX Tracks technology were not successful. Judges ended up accepting Tracks-related evidence in those cases, but the judge said he found those rulings unpersuasive. He also said, the judge, most compelling are the complete absence of data to support Trax's purported error rate and the scientific community's wholesale rejection of Trax's methods. He wrote that in a ruling, noting that he had also found 3 other rulings from judges rejecting Trax-related evidence or expressing skepticism of that evidence. So here we go. Not only did this judge Villasenor, but also 3 other judges found this to be complete and utter bullshit. Bullshit.
You're what the French call les incompetents.
In the case of the man charged with 3 counts of stalking in Fort Collins, Colorado, prosecutors wanted to use Track's cell phone data mapping as evidence to show the defendant was repeatedly near the apartment of his former girlfriend, thereby confirming he was defying a restraining order, barring him from stalking her. The Trax maps produced for the Fort Collins Police Department placed the man in the vicinity of his former girlfriend's apartment nearly every day between December 30th, 2021 and January 11th, 2022, the judge noted in his ruling on maps. Oh, look. How to tighten saggy jowls. Perfect. I hate AI, and I hate that they look at you.
I hate you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
So, PFOFF testified for the defense that Trax isn't reliable. Foff provided, I feel so goofy today. I don't know, I can't talk. I just feel like, I feel out of it today. I'm reading your comments. Who's trolling? Troll alert? There's trolls everywhere. Okay, so Poff testified that it's not reliable. Poff provided as evidence GPS records from Jones's truck that undercut the cell phone location maps produced by Trax. So they found GPS in the truck that completely defied Cy Ray's shit. The truck's GPS records showed that when Jones was supposedly at the apartment of the former girlfriend on multiple occasions, he was actually driving on an interstate, according to Poff. Okay, so here we have, let's talk about this. Because we have Bryan saying he was not at the King Road house, right? Puff. Diana. We have him saying he was not at the King Road house. We have them saying that he was. So in this case, the truck showed that this dude was at the apartment of his former girlfriend, but then tracks said he was actually driving on an interstate. So the truck showed he was at the house, and then this system, whatever this Cy-Ray used, showed him on an interstate. No wonder Bryan wanted to use them. What's up, potato? The GPS from the truck showed that on multiple occasions that they were trying to suggest he was in the area of the apartment. And he was miles away, Poff said. He was on the other side of town. They said he was on the west side of Fort Collins, and I could show he was on the northeast side of Fort Collins. The GPS mapping backed up the man's contention that he had been driving back and forth from his home in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and his job in Johnstown instead of stalking his girlfriend, Poff said. In addition, security footage of the apartment complex undercut the former girlfriend's contention that she and her son had seen her former boyfriend's red Dodge Ram drive through the apartment on 2 occasions. The investigating officer reviewed the security footage for the second day and noted that a red truck was driven through the complex, but the truck wasn't a Dodge. The judge in his ruling said the officer found the truck was a Toyota and had a Toyota camper on the back when the former boyfriend's truck did not have a camper. Larimer County District Attorney Gordon McLaughlin, whose office prosecuted this case, said he still believes that ZX Tracks technology is reliable. We respectfully disagree with the judge's ruling and will continue to consider such mapping information when provided by law enforcement investigators as part of a case presentation. So the prosecutor's going against the judge in this case. Look at, why do I have a mouse? Why is there a mouse in baking soda on my screen? Clover, what's up? Katie K says, but then LE said BK's phone pinged at the house the next day. But they don't believe that to be accurate. Yeah, next will be skydiving. You know, you'd be an exciting date. Why do you say that, Calvin Klein? Oh, I want to give a shout out to Stephanie too. Hold on, guys. Stephanie B purchased some 420 merchandise last night. And I want to say thank you. Send us some pictures when you get your merch. We have 420 merch. It's pretty cute. I just ordered mine this morning too. So this prosecutor says we'll continue using the shit. However, we have advised local law enforcement agencies that certain judges may not allow such evidence to be presented at trial, and they should therefore endeavor to use other methods and rely on other evidence when available. And then it says just how many criminal convictions have relied on tracks mapping technology couldn't be immediately determined. Ray, the founder of ZX, claimed in a curriculum, whatever that is, he submitted in the case that he has provided training to over 8,000 law enforcement officers, prosecutors, and defense experts. He also stated on the curriculum that he had provided expert testimony in at least 18 criminal cases. Another case in which Cy Ray testified involved the October 15, 2015 double homicide in a marijuana smuggling killing in rural Weld County. Samuel Pinney, who was 36, was sentenced to 2 life sentences for the killings in that case. The Colorado Court of Appeals and Colorado Supreme Court rejected an appeal of Pinney's conviction. That challenge, however, did not revolve around the cell phone location testimony in the case from Ray. And that's what I've got on this. And now I want to know what you got. Look at this shit. Look at this. Oh my God. Look at those legs. Are they telling me something? What the fuck, man? I'm telling you, my computer is on crack cocaine right now. So this is a bunch of, it's really confusing to walk through. But what I'm getting from this is that certain judges have become aware of this technology and how it's been used and how it's failed. Am I freezing for anyone else? I feel like I am. Is it better now? I was like freezing up. And it's a partial alibi. It's, yeah, he loves to confuse, right? You know, Bryan Kohberger loves to confuse. But I don't understand how this technology works, that it's going to have this guy on the interstate when his truck showed him to be at an apartment. Okay, it's just on my end then.
Roberta.
Am I glitching a little? Yeah, it is glitching a little bit. I got too many things open, I think. Let me see if I can close down a couple things here and make it run a little bit better. Jays for Justice podcast. Stop giving Murdaugh a chance to appeal on grounds of phone. Well, did they use this technology in his case? Because I think that was the FBI CAS team that got Murdaugh. You too, Reba. Actually, the phone, they said maybe off, out of range, airplane mode. They weren't sure. Right. For those 2 hours. Who's letting Bryan Kohberger crash at their place? Blit. Yeah, I don't know. My computer's acting up a little bit, y'all. I don't know why. Phones can overlap and you can transfer from an office phone over to your cell phone without hanging up. So do you think that's what he did? Do you think he had 2 phones? Because there's got to be cameras at Wawa State Park. There's got to be cameras there. And he went there at night when they're closed. I can hear your voice, but your mouth ain't moving.
These nuts.
PKC. It sounds like this tech has mainly been used by local LE. Does this really make it more reliable or accurate than FBI CAS tech? Mine right now says I'm 30 miles. Where are you looking at, KDK? Twizzle Stick has a hard-on for Bryan Kohberger. That's funny.
Bryan Kohberger.
Twizzle, you know what I got to say to Ann C. Taylor?
And you know what I have to say to Ann C. Taylor, the defense lawyer? Bring it on, woman.
Have y'all seen the new book by Howard Blum that's coming out, Bloom? Mega P was so kind to order that book, and when it comes out in June, I'm going to be narrating it for y'all. So we're going to be reading through the book when it comes out of Howard Bloom. Possibly, but also you can maybe find a phone. Can you prove who's in possession of it? I don't know. Oh, J-Lo. That would be a big fat no. I'm not covering that case. I'm not covering Karen Reed. They have them driving in Moscow, too. So they have to have license plate readers, intersection cameras, cell phone data, car data. It always pings in your neighboring town? Wow. J is for Justice podcast. Twizzle Stick. No cameras at Wawa Way. No cell service. Gate is not locked. It's closed. No cameras at all? I don't know. Hey, Leslie and Billy. Good to see you. Annie. I know. I can't wait to read it. He says he's got some new info in there too, which I think will be pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's all I had on Kohberger, but I'd like to share a couple more stories with you. We had some crazy shit over the weekend here in Florida. We had a double murder involving teenagers in St. Pete, Florida. Y'all, St. Pete is getting crazy and crazy and crazy. Or crazier and crazier, I should say. This happened. I think it happened Saturday. And it involves teenagers. Of course, there are no cameras. This case is just like it. The PCA itself drives late at night and early morning. I don't know, man. I mean, pings. The pings aren't going to be as accurate. I don't know. I think it's going to be a bunch of bullshit. And God knows if the prosecution's going to catch wind of these people and this, you know, these rulings and stuff. Or a murder-suicide. That's what I meant to say. But you watch Cy, he's incredible. Why do you think he's incredible? He has a podcast, by the way. You literally just recorded your drive to Why. Well, there's got to be cameras, Fizzle Stick, somewhere. Hang on, let me pull this up. This is crazy. St. Pete is getting pretty nasty. There's like shootings every day. Not every day, but quite often. At least once a week. At least. But this kind of blew my mind here. The incident happened while a teenager was dog sitting at a home. And this, let's see what day it happened. They said it. Okay. 2 are dead after a 17-year-old boy shot a 14-year-old girl, then turned the gun on himself. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office said on Sunday. Hector Pfeiffer was dog sitting at the home of Derek Pabuta on Grove Park Avenue in Lealman when he invited 3 friends over around 4 a.m. Saturday to hang out. So Yuri Jade Ruiz, 14, Alex Spasanio, 18, and another girl who is not named or identified by age in the news release came over. The teenagers began drinking and consuming coke and marijuana. Pfeiffer had met the girls through social media. Spaciano was a friend of his. Is it really, Teresa? At some point, Pfeiffer took out a gun that belonged to Pabuta, 26, who was out of town. The 4 began to play around with the weapon, taking pictures of it. A disagreement arose about what deputies called a consensual sexual encounter that Pfeiffer had. Ruiz was talking to the other unnamed girl when Pfeiffer approached her and fired. Pfeiffer then shot himself in the head. Ruiz was found dead at the scene. Pfeiffer was taken to a hospital and pronounced dead at 10 p.m. Can you imagine that you hire this teenager to dog sit and this shit goes on at your house? It's drugs, guys. I think it's drugs, poverty. People are losing their fucking minds. People are losing their effing minds. I mean, back back to Bryan Kohberger. Like, why would you sit in jail for 3 years if Cy Ray could prove that you weren't there? Twizzle, you're really kind of like causing a little ruckus. Calm down. Simmer it down.
Don't make me a dog-faced lion pony soldier.
So I thought that was kind of crazy. Let's see what else we've got going on in the world. I didn't really have a whole lot for today. I did want to go over that Cy Ray. I don't really understand it too much, how all of that works. But tonight we are going to be live with Chad Daybell. I just want to make sure there's nothing else on here that we missed. Nope. Oh, yeah, here's Cy Ray right here.
Right.
So,
well, and COVID really disrupted the criminal justice system, so there's a lot of cases
Cy
in our
himself.
backlog that we're still waiting to get caught up. But once we sold the company, it was time for us to figure out the next step. And we have a pretty strict non-compete, so we're not going to go build another ZX tomorrow. And I got this crazy, wild idea that I think I want to run a brewery.
so he starts buying all this brewery kit. Like, there's this pellets of brewery.
Brewha.
Yeah, Bruja. And there's these, like, we're getting salt packets being delivered to the house. We have yeast coming. I think you even started
Hops.
taking an online course. Yeah, we had hops,
Yeah.
everything coming to the
Cornell.
house.
I took the brewing class from Cornell.
He took like 2 online classes, which you passed with flying colors.
is-
I'm
but
pretty
then
much a brewer. I've never made beer, though.
he didn't finish the course.
Well, we got busy.
We got busy. So anyhow, because we decided we were going to try to start a brewery, we had to have a brewery name. So because we looked at this mountain that was kind of burned out by our house from a forest fire, we decided we were going to call it Burning Mountain Brewery.
And around the same time,
Loaded.
Carrie made it pretty clear to me, like, hey, I love you, but I'm not going to run a brewery. And I was like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And her passion is really writing. Carrie is actually a very gifted writer.
Thanks,
and I think
babe.
this is one of the things that
Thanks, babe.
are yin and yang, if you will. Like, I etch out stuff in caveman language.
Socialite Crime Club.
Fire. And then I'll give it to Carrie, and you make it beautiful. And we've been very successful in creating products like that. So at the same time, you're kind of looking at, hey, I think I want
Yeah, it's
to
his
write,
wife.
and I want to write this book, and I really wanted to be supportive. So I got online, and you had talked about these writer retreats, and I found a really cool retreat in Italy, and I'm like, I'm booking this, and I'm flying her to Italy where you can do a writer's retreat to kind of push start that.
Right. So, yes, you're absolutely right. So I do the whole retreat. I start learning a little bit more, not only about some writing processes, but I also started learning the business around writing and started understanding how much publishers actually take from authors when they publish your book. And I remember being on a bus on my way back to Rome from a little town that we were staying in, and I called Cy, and I just kind of pitched this. What did I tell you? I
This was
remember
like my pitching of ZX to you in reverse, where you're
Yeah.
like, hey, here's the deal. I want to write a book. I'm really motivated to do it, but I'm not going to use a publisher, so we're going to self-publish. So I need you to figure out a business plan for us to build a network big enough somehow that we can self-publish this book and actually have it be successful. Oh, and by the way, true crime is a big deal. It's
He
a
does
big
look like
market.
Kevin
You should look
Frankie.
into this, you said.
So while I was at this retreat, a lot of the women that were in this retreat, amazing women, by the way, and they're all authors, they're in some amazing groups and programs, and they start telling me about the true crime genre. And I didn't know there was a true crime genre.
But at the same time, they're fascinated about your background.
They were fascinated about my background, and they asked a lot of questions about, well, do you guys consult? Do you do this? Have you ever considered this or that? And which I never really had at the time, because true crime was just something we did every day. I never looked at it as a form of entertainment, if you will.
Right.
So I didn't know what it was, and I started telling Cy about this.
Come on.
And I said, hey, we need to come up with a business plan around this because we don't know what else we're going to do, and I don't want to do.
Yeah, we got to cash in on this true crime genre, Cy. We got to cash in on this. How could she not know that true crime has been a form of entertainment when we have ID channel, court TV, all this shit? What is she even talking about? This is his star expert. Yep. Yippers. We're going to have tea with Cy.
And he agreed.
What could possibly go wrong with a brewery?
He agreed.
So we changed it from Burning Mountain Brewery to Burning Mountain Productions.
I can't.
We were really slow, though. I wasn't convinced that it was the right move for us. And it was funny because we kicked this around for almost 2 years, and we had all these different conversations, and it just didn't quite feel right. And then we went on a trip to Napa about a year ago, and we're in Napa, and this lady at a wine room recognizes me, and she's like, I know who you are. And she named the case that I worked almost 20 years ago, but it's been done on Dateline and 2020
Oxygen.
But she knew me, she knew the case, and I was like, babe, that's a sign. Like, she's a true crime junkie.
But you're not a big believer in science either.
No,
so
I'm
like,
not.
And in the moment, you kind of are.
That's why it took like 20 of them.
So yeah, so then like literally.
He's not a believer in science. He's not a believer in science. Are they Mormon? I don't know. He's from he was a cop in Gilbert, Arizona, where Lori Vallow lived. Let's see, is Cy Ray Mormon? Cy Ray, let's see. I don't see anything about his. Oh wait, here's his. Here's his LinkedIn. Queen Creek, Arizona. Oh Lord, look at this! Look at this, y'all. Oh shit! Look, his LinkedIn. Wait till you see his LinkedIn cover photo. Hold on. Y'all, I can't with these professionals we come across on the internet. Oh, it ain't that. God dang it, where is it? Why can't I get it up? There it is. Look, a weekly true crime production. It's all pixelated and shit. Look at there's him and his wife cashing in on the true crime genre. Burning Mountain Productions, Queen Creek, Arizona. He's been doing that for 6 months. And then he worked at LexisNexis Risk Solutions. And then founder of ZX. And then founder, Phoenix Training Council. Law enforcement officer, Gilbert Police Department for 14 years. Law enforcement specialist for 6 months. Law enforcement professional embedded with the U.S. military in Afghanistan, focused on undercover operations targeting criminal syndicates. He only did it for 6 months. And then he worked in Sholo, Arizona as a police officer for 2 years, 11 months. But that's it. That's all I can see. Company website. Let's see. Brian, I'm not really impressed by people who say they don't trust or believe in science. How can you not believe in science? I mean, I see shit like this and I'm just like, come on. A weekly true crime production. Each week, join hosts Cy and Carrie Ray as they reveal grisly details of real cases they've worked on. Really? Grisly details? Episode 1. Nothing but a butt thing. We gotta watch this shit.
Why are people going to love episode 1?
I'm going to tell you a story about a cold, callous killer. And in spite of her identity being known to law enforcement, she will go on to claim more victims in the future than she has the past. And there's nothing anybody can do to stop her. Her name? Wee Wee.
Welcome to Socialite Crime Club.
Is that his wife? What the fuck are we watching? This is weird.
Recounting misdeeds.
What?
Misdeeds I made like him.
What is going on here? This is fucking weird. Yeah. Wee wee.
All right. I want to get our listeners on track really quick with, we're going to get into a little history, and it's really important for me to explain why. We're going to talk history.
Right.
And we're going to talk the
Skinamax. Nothing but a butt thing? These people, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with these people. There is definitely something going on. More than, Shell says abort mission.
Did I ask you what somebody I don't even know thinks?
You guys, your comments are cracking me the freak up. This is really, really quite disturbing. What is Socialite Crime Club? A new take on true crime. Former investigators and cell phone tracking experts, Cy and Carrie Ray, discuss their involvement in criminal cases from around the world and what it takes to solve complex investigations. Join them each week as they delight your insatiable desires for scandalous schemes, disgraceful deeds, secret soirees, and criminal conspiracies. What is this? This is his freaking podcast. Here's another one, yeah.
You're invited to indulge in exceptional storytelling.
Wait, hold on. Is that his wife narrating this, y'all? Holy shit.
Storytelling. Delight your insatiable desires for scandalous schemes, disgraceful deeds, secret soirees, and criminal conspiracies. Join Cy and Carrie Ray, former investigators, as they uncover grisly details from real criminal cases they've worked on. Socialite Crime Club, Recounting Misdeeds, a weekly true crime podcast, premieres November 1st, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Recounting Misdeeds.
This guy's a freak. Yo, this guy, there's... Let's see if they got any other episodes.
I am supposed to contact the superintendent for the high school and figure out what's going on.
The Higley School District at that time, they had quite a few new schools going up. This community was developing very quickly.
What are they talking about? I thought they were crime. Just lick it? Kicking it with Carrie?
You ordered him to lick his hand?
It was a suggestion. I was trying to help him.
Did you say, sir, you should probably lick your hand?
No, I
What
said,
did
why
you
not?
say?
I said, you should lick
Yeah, you
that.
ordered him on the traffic stop.
I did order him. I guess it would be perceived as an order because
These people are fucking pervs. Are you with me? Put a 1 in chat if you think these people are fucking pervs. swingers, pervs, open relationships.
From a police officer for him to lick his ice cream cone. This is
Did he lick it?
horrible.
Did he lick it? Socialite Crime Club bonus episode. I'm going to call this Kicking It with Carrie, Volume 1. What's wrong, babe?
I don't like the idea of doing this episode.
I know, but it's okay. We've had an outpouring of requests that people want more Carrie.
I wouldn't call it an outpouring.
I would. Why do you think they want more of you? They want to hear you talk more than me, and I'm totally for this.
I don't think this is a good idea because we're likely to get canceled.
Yeah, but didn't I give you the option of putting your own episode together where you could tell a case?
Yeah, but we've had other cases already lined up.
No, what did you say when I told you, babe, people want to hear from you, put a case together? What did you say?
I like when you're the star of the show.
So you forced this on me, so we're going to do it. This is a bonus episode where we're going to talk about one of Carrie's cases. And I will let you people know, and you can probably see it in her eyes right now. I'm in a lot of trouble tonight. She does not want to do this. It is a forced episode, but
I
it'll
don't
be good
even
for
know
her.
what case you're going to bring up or talk
So I'm thinking
about.
once a month, we're going to do a Kicking It with Carrie episode where I'm going to do my best to elicit a case from you. Basically, it's just the idea of fun stories through the world of Carrie's eyes. This month's episode is the Great Ice Cream Melt. The ice cream caper. Look, I found a picture of you.
That is a terrible picture.
Oh, Lord.
You were young in your law enforcement career when this picture was taken.
I was really young. To be honest, I'm not sure how old I was.
Okay.
Maybe early 30s.
Yeah. So when I'm talking the Great Ice Cream Caper, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh, yes.
Okay. I'm going to help you get started. I understand it's your first episode. It can be hard. What was your assignment? What were you doing at the police department when the ice cream caper happened?
I was on patrol.
Can you expand on that maybe a little bit and carry on?
So I was on patrol, and there wasn't much going on in the sleepy town of Gilbert. I wasn't out chasing cartels or anything like that. It was somebody coming out of...
No, we haven't got to the story yet. I'm just asking what you were doing. So you want to get through this really fast? I got to drag it out a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was just on patrol somewhere.
Okay, well, how did the Great Ice Cream Caper begin? What was the infraction that caught your eye?
Well, he nearly ran a red light until he saw me sitting at the light trying to turn and had to stop for him because this man was nearly running a red light. So then he stopped pretty much almost in the middle of the intersection.
Because it's not running a red light if you stop in the middle.
Yeah. So I just finished my turn, and then I kind of waited for his light to turn green again so that he could continue past me when I pulled him over.
It's a traffic stop.
It was a traffic stop, yes.
Explain this initial interaction. You made contact with him, I'm assuming. He's in the driver's seat. What happened?
Well, he had pulled out of the parking lot where McDonald's was. And
I don't know what they're talking about. I'm waiting to find
He came out from the
out.
McDonald's parking lot. I pulled him over. And bear in mind, it's really warm in Arizona at this time. I don't remember for sure what time of year it was, but it was warm. And it's McDonald's soft serve, so it's beginning to melt.
What's McDonald's soft serve?
The ice cream cone.
You didn't describe this. Go back and describe this better.
Sorry, I'm nervous. So he had a McDonald's ice cream cone in his hand when he rolled down his window. Now, bear in mind, he was switching his ice cream cone from hand to hand as I'm talking to him, but he's beginning to pull out all of his registration and insurance.
She said pull out.
From his glove box.
Yikes.
And his ice cream cone is melting. It's melting on his hands, and I'm thinking he's going to get sticky. So on top of that, he's going to hand me all of his stuff, which is going to be sticky.
This is
and
their
then my
true
hands
crime
are going to
story.
be sticky.
Oh, dear.
And I did feel bad because it was hot.
Wow.
I was annoyed. I was not expecting to make this kind of traffic stop at this time of day. So I'm kind of getting a little pushy with him because he's taking a long time. And then he explains to me that he just came from the hospital.
You do this to me a lot. When you say pushy, explain to our audience, what do you mean by pushy?
I'm being kind of forwardly aggressive.
Okay. You're one of those cops.
Certain times of the day, yes.
Okay.
So he explains to me he came from the hospital. Some family member, maybe his dad or brother, somebody was in the hospital and he was having a bad day. And then I feel bad. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to add to your bad day. So as he's continuing to look through his glove box, gathering all of his stuff, his ice cream is still continually melting down his hand. So he wasn't paying attention to his ice cream.
You're kind of a
however.
clean freak.
I am a clean freak. And he was just allowing the ice cream to drip down his arm at this point. And it was just slowly going. So I said, hey, why don't you lick that? and
Like what?
his hand in his ice cream cone. I didn't want.
Why are they even
his
bringing
hand?
this up?
It wasn't necessarily an order. It was a suggestion. I was trying to help him
Did you say, sir, you should probably lick your hand?
No, I
What
said,
did
why
you
don't,
say?
I said, you should lick
Yeah, you
that.
ordered him on the traffic stop.
I did order him. I guess it would be perceived as an order because it's
Yeah.
coming from a police officer for him to lick his ice cream cone. This is
did
a
he lick it?
horrible story.
Did he lick it?
Yes, he did. He licked his ice cream cone in his hand, but I didn't mean for it to be as bad as you're making it sound.
I'm not making it sound anything. I'm just trying to get our audience would be asking you the same question.
So I let him go. Like,
Do you
it
have an
didn't
audience,
go.
motherfucker?
I was just,
Hang
I
on.
felt bad. So the traffic stop was done. I was like, just get on your way. Watch what you're doing.
I
Pay attention to
I think there might have been a
stoplights.
little bit more to that. If I recall correctly, wasn't there a second command of licking your hand given?
Yeah, I said, like, yeah, I told him.
What?
Because he was trying to talk to you about it and he got distracted.
Yeah.
And you saw it a second time.
Yeah.
And you commanded him to lick it again.
That damn McDonald's ice cream, it just constantly melts, right? So I did tell him, I don't like using the word command.
Okay.
I said,
Ordered.
I didn't even order him. It's the same thing. I suggested.
Strongly suggested. You didn't
Strongly
have to.
suggested.
These people are
lick
Let's
his
just say you
hand.
told him. On a traffic stop, a person of authority, you told him to lick his hand, which he did
He did.
twice.
It wasn't just licking his hand, though. It was licking ice cream, melting ice cream from his hand in the middle of the
Do you
summertime.
remember telling me the story right after it happened? And what
yeah,
did I tell
because
you?
I felt bad. I felt, well, that's the thing. I shouldn't have felt bad necessarily because he did make a traffic infraction that could have hurt somebody or killed somebody. And I was telling you about it, and you said, baby, you can't tell people to lick their hands. Like, you're probably going to get
You're
a
gonna
complaint. Right.
Yeah, I guarantee you this is going to be an IA. Can you imagine?
An IA is
Let's-
an internal affairs of investigation.
Let's reverse roles. You're an attractive female. Let's reverse
The
roles.
80s
I'm the male police officer. I'm stopping an attractive female. She's scrambling, trying to get me all the documents. She has ice cream running down her hand. And as a male cop, I tell her, hey, you got to lick that. What do you think's going to happen?
Well, he wasn't attractive. or
That
anything.
doesn't change it.
No, but
So
you're
anyway,
going to
I
get,
did
even
warn
if she
you.
wasn't attractive and you stopped her, it could definitely turn
I did
into
warn you
something.
that he would be contacting the police department, and you're probably going to have to deal with this. And
Wow.
if I'm not mistaken, he did contact the police department, didn't he?
He did, but you know what? He didn't give me a complaint. It was a commendation letter to my chief of police.
Of course it fucking was, because there's nothing anybody wants more than you to tell them to lick their hand. This is bullshit.
He actually sent a commendation letter to my chief of police saying that we had a very nice encounter. It started off rough, but everything came out okay. And he was very appreciative
This is the
that I
best
did
day of
not.
his life. He's like, I got the luckiest boy in America medal today.
I did not give him a citation, and everything was fine, and he went on his way, and I hope that his next McDonald's ice cream soft serve experience was much better.
You know, I always get a kick out of our comments after we release an episode. Do you know how many comments we're going to get where people are going to be like, I would totally let her tell me to lick my hand?
I sure hope not. It was a rough morning that morning, and I'm just really.
Did you hear what he just said? Let's read some of these comments. I've been looking forward to Carrie's episode. It feels like the episode is still led by Cy while he interviews you, yet it works. And if anything, there's more humor than in regular episodes. This is my new favorite episode. This is amazing. And remember, guys, next time you get pulled over, you better lick your ice cream. So what kind of lick was it? Says this guy. These guys are pervs. We're getting close to a new DQ opening in a couple weeks near me. Is DQ code, KDK? This person puts the tongue out. So the point of the story is if you want to get out of a ticket, have a melting ice cream cone in your hand. Says Mark 8337. He's all about it. He's from Wisconsin, don't you know?
You ordered him to lick his hand?
It was a suggestion.
Okay, now listen to this.
I did not give him a citation, and everything was fine, and he went on his way, and I hope that his next McDonald's ice cream soft serve experience was much better.
You know, I always get a kick out of our comments after we release an episode. Do you know how many comments we're going to get where people are going to be like, I would totally let her tell me to lick my hand?
I sure hope not. It was a rough morning that morning, and I'm just really glad that we had this really nice, understanding citizen, and I was trying to be understanding of his situation, and nobody was hurt that day. So that's
It's a nice
my
spin on the end of that. Yeah.
yeah. we try to bring light to everything. I don't like this idea of doing anything with Carrie time. Maybe we'll just see you next week.
So episode 2 of Kicking It with Carrie, that'll be next month. I already have it.
Good God. This is...
I am supposed to contact the superintendent for the high school and figure out what's going on.
This is nuts. Y'all, you can't make this up. Do they have shorts? Oh, they have shorts. School supports rapist and ruins girl's life. Here's a short.
Have you ever heard of SETI?
It's something extraterrestrial.
SETI, S-E-T-I, is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It is a non-profit formed in California in 1984, and it was actually a NASA program. And like many things at NASA, a group of engineers figured out we can do this better than NASA can. The idea here is that it's a research think tank.
I don't know what just happened there.
Have you ever heard of SETI?
Something extraterrestrial.
SETI, S-E-T-I, is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It is a non-profit formed in California in 1984, and it was actually a NASA program. And like many things at NASA, a group of engineers figured out we can do this better than NASA can. The idea here is that it's a research think.
He said a group of engineers. Remember, he said he was an engineer, but he has an associate's degree. And he never... He had no schooling even remotely close to any kind of engineering. The judge totally called him out on it, too. This guy, this is Bryan Kohberger's star witness. This is who's going to get him off, y'all.
If you will, into clues and evidence about extraterrestrial intelligence. And they examine images and radio frequency that is collected from around the world. The problem is there's so much of it. It's just this massive data collection. So one of the really smart scientists at SETI came up with an idea. The internet will allow us to harness computers around the world. If we could get hundreds of thousands of computers plugged in through using the internet, we could kind of build the world's largest supercomputer. This is where SETI at home is born.
Socialite Crime Club.
She whispered.
Have you ever?
They're pervs. It's like a swingers socialite crime club. Let's see. Teacher racks up $1 million in school damage. You're more likely to be killed by this than to be killed by a bear. Let's see if he talks about Idaho. Oh, I wonder if he does. Why parents should always check their kids' phones. Jogger stumbles on missing girl's final resting
They
place.
have a missing 15-year-old girl, Annie, that they took a report on the night before. Last seen wearing red shoes. There's a jogger that's out for her morning run. She's just running down this path next to a river, and she sees what appears to be a red shoe, just one. She sees what she thinks is blood. So now she looks a little bit more like, okay, hang on. There's blood here. There's a shoe. This probably isn't good, and she's going to call Draper PD. There appears to be some drag marks that go down towards the river. They find some more blood spatter, drag marks down into the river. They have a missing 15-year-old.
Recounting misdeeds. Malnourished child with broken fingers and teeth. Kids found jammed into tote bags in storage unit. Crazy man throws hot oil on SWAT team. SWAT team can't believe who they're in a standoff with. This is a sniper's real job. You'll never guess what this crazy neighbor did. You shouldn't live at a drug cash house if you dislike weird guys with guns. Let's see. Nastiest comment wins a free trip. Let's see this one.
I'll challenge whoever can make the nastiest comment about me having a fun time. I will fly you out here and I will spend 2 or 3 days doing a training like this. We're going to film it and I will show you having a good time. So in 2005, I was on our SWAT team. We had regular mandatory monthly training, and then we had an annual training. Every year we would do a 40-hour SWAT week. It's a good time. You get out from normal police duties, lots of firearm stuff, lots of training, just a lot of good banter. It's just a fun time. One of the things that we would do during our week long is they would stage a call out.
You realize you're going to get a lot of hate for saying it's a fun time.
It is a good time. I'll challenge whoever can make the nastiest comment about me having a fun time, I will fly you out here and I will spend 2 or 3 days doing a training like this. We're going to film it and I will show you having a good time. So in 2005, I was on our SWAT team. We had regular mandatory monthly training and then we had an annual training. Every year we would do a 40-hour SWAT week. It's a good time. You get out from normal police duties, lots of firearm stuff, lots of training, just a lot of good banter. It's just a fun time.
It said chicken fucker on there. The biggest problem in law enforcement today is ego, he says. He says it's ego. Let's watch this one. What he has to say about law enforcement.
The biggest challenge to law enforcement is these days. What is it?
Ego.
Ego. Law enforcement has a habit of when they get one of these cases, especially a really juicy whodunit case, they don't want to give it up. They don't want to share it. And I've taught this subject matter for years now. And I used to tell classes, it's like you get a little bunny. You've got this nice, cute, cuddly bunny, but you're like a 10-year-old who just wants to hoard your bunny. No, don't touch my bunny. And I used to tell people all the time, share your bunny. Let other people pet your bunny. Share the bunny love. And we did this for years in our classes. The moral of this story is, as detectives, let people pet your bunny, share your cases. There's nothing more important than getting several sets of eyes on a case. And this new commander we had knew this. So he put us all together and we had this big briefing. Brought in all of the investigators. They briefed up the case of where they had the case at that time.
Socialite Crime Club.
The biggest
I bet
challenge
you he was
to
a
law
real prick when he was a cop. What is this shiz? Blowfly eggs? Okay. Let's listen to this one.
Blowflies are brilliantly designed to colonize almost immediately when a body dies. Any competent pathologist would recognize blowfly eggs or would recognize the presence of blowflies. And when we look at the medical examiner's report, he doesn't mention it. Blowflies look for dead people. They can smell it in the air.
Especially outside dead people.
Outside dead people are beautiful. They will land on a dead body.
Did he just say outside dead people are beautiful? Yo, this guy, they're going to probably put him on the stand. I imagine if he says that this guy has this, like Judge is going to have to hear this guy out, right? Like they're going to bring this clown in and put him on the stand, I think, to see what he's got. And Kristen, I just want to tell you, I've been thinking about you and I'm so glad you came in today. Because I'm like, how do I get a hold of her to see if she's okay?
Within minutes of death. That's how efficient. So when he says they're brilliantly designed, that's what he's talking about. In their feet, they can sense protein, liquid protein. So they land, they walk around you trying to find liquid protein.
Which is what the human body is pretty much composed of.
Exactly, especially around orifices of the face. If you think about your mucus, your eyes, if you ever get runny nose, runny mouth, ears.
It's just gooey.
Yeah, they love that. So blowflies are attracted to orifices in the face. Blowflies are...
This guy's an ass. Let's see what else he's got. They didn't hear her scream. What is that? People watch this girl was kidnapped but didn't hear her scream. Cop pulls car over and immediately realizes, what? Something's not right. Killer leaves huge clue in murder investigation.
I have to believe that Zoe was either fighting at this point or realized what was going on and was trying to escape, and it caused this accident. She is outside the van and quite a ways.
Maybe she was trying to run or get away.
And it appears that maybe he ends up catching up to her before she can actually get away. She has severe trauma to her neck area, which is obviously inflicted by a knife. They find a knife at the scene, not too far from the body. Her clothes are very disheveled, and they're going to find 2 different semen samples. Both of them are not big enough sample to get a full DNA profile. We get what's called YSTR. This is a partial profile from a male sample of DNA, but there's enough of the sample that we can tell family lineage. However, the knife also has DNA on it. It's got Zoe's from the blood that's on the knife, but then it also has an unknown male profile. The YSTR belongs to the same family tree as the male that's identified on the knife. They put it into the DNA database and they immediately get a hit on Antonio.
I'll find you.
Oh my God.
I have to believe that Zoe was either fighting
it. Said, I'll find you. Sorry, y'all. I had to go off camera for a second. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm gonna have a ciggy. This guy's giving me stress. What about this? Phone records show murderer's insanely long drive to abduction site. Women's phone records show map of her abduction. Life-saving secrets, your phone's hidden actions.
If anyone's ever scared about getting abducted or being kidnapped, leave your phone on.
As long as possible.
One of the surest ways to find you.
I watched a video earlier today on a different super high profile case, and this defense expert who is clueless is making statements that the only time your phone will ever register to a cell site is if you're using voice, text, or data. And that's just not the case. There's so many things in the background that our phones do now. You may not know you're doing anything with your phone, and there is a connection record.
Not to mention your phone could actually be connecting with multiple cell sites at any given time.
Correct, which gives us a better idea of where that phone is at. We have a little logo and a little saying that we throw in some of our short reels from time to time to say,
find you.
I'll find you. And it's not meant to be creepy. It's meant to be, hey, if we're ever involved in a case where you go missing, we'll find you. We get calls all the time where we're helping agencies across the country, and we have a very high percentage of we will find you.
These people. Okay, now how a bruise can tell you exactly when someone was unalived. Missing Sunday swim. Murderer dumps weapon off at brother's house and falls into fateful trap. Roommates of missing women knew something was wrong immediately. Let's watch this.
She was last seen around 7 p.m. There's these buildings at this location where she lives at her place of business. And she drove about 150 yards to this little church, and she was never seen again. There's a curfew here,
The missing
so she has to be
Mennonite.
back at a certain time. So when her roommates realized the light that they had left on for her was still on and she wasn't there, and it was after curfew, they knew something was wrong. Sasha worked for Lamp and Light Publishing, where she would actually translate different books into Mennonite scripture, both English, Spanish, and French. So she spoke 3 different languages. Super smart. There's a house on site where all of the workers for Lamp and Light live. And then the red line, I drew the path, if you would, that she would drive to go up to the church, which is up the kind of the top left there.
Okay.
So around 7 p.m., drives her car up there, stays up there for a while. Her roommates are getting ready to go to bed. They leave a light on for her. About 1:30 in the morning, one of her roommates wakes up, notices the light is still on, and immediately thinks, oh, something's not right. I'll find you. She was last seen around 7 p.m. There's these buildings at this location.
I'll find you. Oh, concerned murderer calls his sister to make her death look like a suicide. Man gets life in prison for not cooperating. Oil drum in river has body of murderer victim inside.
The DNA on the knife is his. Now, granted, it's touch DNA. Just because we have touch DNA does not mean you committed a crime. Everywhere you go that you touch, you leave little oils. Your DNA is actually in those oils. So I could go to a restaurant, hold on to a glass, and I'm leaving my DNA on that glass. Well, just because that glass ends up in somebody's house later that night for whatever reasons, doesn't mean I was at the house. That's touch DNA. And I will be the first one to say, it is problematic trying to convict somebody on touch DNA alone. You need other evidence to help combine that. But when we start to look at touch DNA that's found on a knife very close to the body, and then his YSTR DNA also on the body, it starts to paint a little bit of a different picture. They also start looking at Antonio's social media posts. And there's some text messages that he's sending that something happens that afternoon, and he's asking people for help. Both the text messages are happening before and after. But then we get into the phone records, and the phone records paint a pretty clear picture.
So he's saying you can't convict on touch DNA. Isn't that funny? That's kind of similar, right? Let's see what else they got. They gave her life with no evidence. Look.
This is a really piss poor investigation. So there's fingerprints, there's the shoe prints, there's DNA, there's all of this. None of it matches Blaze. None of it. They cannot tie her to this crime scene in any way. They processed the vehicle. There is no blood in that vehicle. She didn't leave anything at the crime scene if she was there, and they have no way to actually physically tie her to that crime scene.
And were they ever able to match the size of the stab wounds with her butterfly knife?
Yes, they do not match. The stab wounds in the victim are actually much deeper than the blade length of her her little butterfly knife. The victim has numbers written down on a piece of paper in his pocket. They never follow up on that.
Phone numbers.
Phone numbers. The dumpster is in the parking lot of a Nevada State bank. Our victim has a Nevada State bank banking account. They never check his bank records. After his death, 3 checks of his are cashed.
And do we know where those checks were written to?
Never followed up on. There's an ATM in that parking lot. They never pull the video from the ATM.
Socialite Crime Club.
You want the one where he calls the sister? Where is it? I can't find that one. Air Force mechanic abducts woman and evidence leads to disgusting behavior.
When he goes to dump her body,
Whoops.
we're going to look at the day of Sasha's disappearance, and this phone is going to start off in Phoenix, which 7-hour drive away from. We're going to look at the day of Sasha's disappearance, and this phone is going to start off in Phoenix, which 7-hour drive away from Farmington, and it's starting actually next to Luke Air Force Base. But then we can watch this phone travel up I-17 across the reservation all the way to Farmington. And when it gets to Farmington, it's actually going to go through Farmington out the other side, and guess where it lands?
At the compound.
There's a 25-meter hit literally just outside the Lamp and Light publishing company, and then it leaves just shortly after 7:30. But it's in the area for 3 hours. Drives from Phoenix, 7 hours, straight to the compound, and then sits there for 7 hours. Around 7:30 is when she drives to the church parking lot. The phone is going to leave the area around 7:45. So not only is it in the area of the crime, shortly after we know she arrives in the area she's abducted, that phone leaves.
I'll find you.
Confessing to murder doesn't mean you'll be convicted for it.
Bear break-ins are on the rise. Apparently the bear break-ins are on the rise. Apparently the bears in Franklin County are breaking into houses, and they will start eating everything in here.
This guy. What cops need to search your phone records? Would you stop to what?
So Mark goes over to Jeremiah's house, drops off the rifle that he used to kill Sasha, unbeknownst to Jeremiah, who puts it in his gun safe. Well, when all of this happens, Jeremiah is watching the news and is like, oh shit, I think I have the murder weapon. The other thing is Gooch is telling Sam to come and get his phone and to delete all of the history, all of the SD cards, and go pick up this rifle. So when he gets arrested, there's a call between him and Sam where he's telling Sam, I need you to get to Arizona and clean up my shit. Well, Coconino County is intercepting all this. And they realize this dumb shit is about to come in, pick up this rifle and try to dispose of it, and then get this phone and wipe all this evidence. Let's do a sting. So they swapped out. They seized the original rifle. If I sent you that text message saying my morning surveillance, what would you say? What is a natural reaction?
What are you talking about, surveillance?
Now, Mark is the youngest of 7 children, and we're going to look at the day of Sasha's disappearance, and this phone is going to start off in Phoenix, which...
If anyone's ever scared about getting abducted or being kidnapped, leave your phone on.
As long as possible.
One of the...
They're going to start looking at Sasha's phone. And what they find is that Sasha's phone leaves the area of the church. The bullet is just below her tongue area, just in front of your throat, below the tongue. What people don't realize is if you get shot in the back of the head with a .22 caliber bullet, it typically will not exit, so it's in the cranial cavity, if you will. And the hole is very, very small. And with a little bit of decomp, it's very hard to identify that hole or that blood. And I've had a number of cases where somebody's come across a dead body, and it isn't until the medical examiner, specifically x-rays, that people realize, oh shit, there's a bullet in that person.
So is it typical?
Leading up to Sasha's body are these drags. She was last seen around the victim's body about 3 o'clock the other morning. either you get rid of Nicole or I'm out of the picture. And
This
there's
is the
hundreds
sister.
of text messages back and forth. And he's saying, I just need a couple days. And she keeps pushing him. Well, I don't know if I can give you a couple more days. Like, I'm pretty much done.
So he's getting a little desperate.
Things are going to change here. On the 12th, he starts texting this guy in Kalispell to go put the padlocks on the house. So he's already planning on locking up her house on the 12th. On the 13th, he hits that guy back and tells him, hey, our plan, it has to happen tonight. After he tells the guy in Kalispell, make sure you lock the house up, he hits up Carmen, who is Nicole's sister, out of the blue. And Carmen's like, who is this? And he has to even tell her, oh, it's Cody. And he's trying to have this deep conversation about Nicole and if she thinks that they can get Nicole the help that Nicole needs. But you have to think, he just locked her and her kids out of her house that she's been paying him for.
Why does he care?
It's all a show.
I'll find you.
I'll find you. This dude will find you, guys. This is... Do you guys think he's going to testify? Do you think that they'll bring him in? Let's go back to their older ones. Flaunt it if you've got it. What?
We had this canine, we all called it Psycho. It was a Belgian Malinois. This canine had trained his dog so well to do this that the dog actually broke his canine teeth, the big teeth in the front.
Oh my gosh.
Completely broke them
How
off.
old was the dog?
Like maybe 3 or 4, so right in the prime of his career. So they took him to the doggy dentist. The doggy dentist put titanium teeth in. And when he growled, it looked like he was wearing a grill.
A dog named Psycho with titanium teeth.
I'm not making this up. This is the most insane dog ever. Well, our handler sees Juan Jose running through and is like, I'm letting the dog go, which we would pay attention to because all of the SWAT cops are now running as fast as Juan
Because
Jose.
you've probably all been bit by this dog at some
This
point.
dog has bit more cops than he has suspects. He's insane. And he hit Juan at a full run, and they went like ass end over end, full cart rails through that parking lot, and we finally got one. It was insane. Yeah, good boy, good boy.
Counting misdeeds.
We had... I don't like the thought of somebody looking at my house for the purposes of committing a home invasion.
Or other reasons.
They planned this like a full operation. They knew whose role was who was going to break the window, who was on lookout when they got in the house, how to get to the bedroom. And what's interesting is when I asked them, well, how did you know the layout of the house? It was a new home. They went to the builder's website and actually were looking at the floor plans on the builder's website.
Oh my gosh.
And I've had this come up on a couple of cases. I don't think people realize most houses are either on Zillow or Redfin, Realtor.com. If you have a home that was built as part of these big housing development,
All the floor plans are there.
people probably don't realize you can go to Zillow, you can go to Redfin, Realtor. Miko loves to flash the cash. He is known. You have 6 hardcore gangsters that are going to come together as part of this rip crew. Where do you think they would meet?
Somebody's house in a garage?
No, you got to eat. You got to fuel yourself before you do this. Eatsa pizza. It's a pizza buffet kind of.
Yeah.
Doughboy is legit. He is the leader of a very well-known gang in Phoenix. He runs a rip crew, and what a rip crew is they target drug dealers who are bringing in loads of drugs or loads of cash. So through different intelligence sources, they'll find out, hey, somebody just brought in 500 pounds of weed, and they will go rip that weed that night. They'll break into the house, do a home invasion, tie everybody up, steal the weed, and take off.
So what they don't realize is that people with normal jobs don't just keep stacks of cash laying around like drug dealers do.
Right. However, Miko, who's always flashing cash, seems like an easy target.
Like he would have tons of money laying around.
Right. And Joe's a little bit jaded anyway because he got the Heisman.
dissed.
Yeah. So Joe convinces Doughboy, hey, I have a hit we can do on this Miko Wadey character.
Recounting misdeeds.
We are now doing an investigation back at Miko's house. And he just... So this truck pulling a trailer with... This week's case doesn't have a 911 call because we have some good old-fashioned police work this week. So we have a patrol officer. He's driving through a neighborhood late at night. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. He's got his windows down. He's going slow. He's just listening. And he hears what he believes is glass shattering, but not maybe just a little window, enormous glass shattering. He gets almost to the stop sign and he hears 3 honks, very distinct, perfectly timed honk, honk, honk. So he turns around. As he turns around, he's passed by another car and it's pulling a flatbed trailer trailer that has, I think it was either 4, maybe 6 four-wheelers tied down to it. But he keeps going, and right after that car passes him, he sees a male running down the street in his underwear. His hands are zip tied behind his back, and he's bleeding from the head. It's Miko Wadey. And Miko is yelling, "That's my car. That's them. Go get my car." And of course, the officer's like, "Hang on. What's wrong with you? Why are you naked running down the street zip tied before I go chase this car?"
Right.
Sometimes prenups kill.
I'm curious, if you're going to go through all the steps to maintain so many boyfriends, why wouldn't you just get a divorce? If you hate your husband that much, just divorce him.
Right. Why not? They shoot and kill him at the very first opportunity they have. So it is 100% a setup ambush.
And he wouldn't have had time to come out of the trees somewhere with that short amount of time.
This one is called Killer Buries Murder Weapon on Farmland. On farmland.
Now remember I referred to these two as mental giants?
Yes.
And I also said they're just stupid. So remember, Garza freaks out when Chasey calls 911. So he takes off running the opposite direction. He's got a murder weapon. And I'm thinking, when you're dressed in dark clothing running through the Texas countryside at night with a shotgun, you should probably be careful. There's a lot of armed people that might shoot you.
Everybody's armed in Texas.
And you just committed a murder with this weapon.
And it sounds like he's on some farmer's land out there.
He's running across field to field to field to field. So what do you think this mental giant does with the shotgun?
I don't know. He just dumps it in a cornfield somewhere?
He does. He buries it in a field. What happens to a field 2-3 times a year?
It gets plowed.
How stupid can you be to hide the evidence in the next field over in a field that's going to get plowed? They shoot. Her and Garza are trying to plan how to lure Bob out of the house so that they can kill him. Garza wants to lure him to Dallas, and they're going to try to do like... She doesn't necessarily come out and say, "Will you kill my husband?" But she makes it very... Garza claims to be a member of the Mexican mafia, and he is what he refers to as a shot caller, which means phone records are what we get from the phone company that gives us some type of location information, where the phone was at certain times, and then who they may be calling or texting. A phone extract is a process where they forensically extract all of the information that's on the phone. Pictures, text message content. We're going to get both. I get brought into the case to do an analysis on the phone records to look at the geolocation side of all the movement of everybody involved, but to also look at the text messages to try to correlate where people are at physically when they're sending certain text messages.
Okay.
And it's huge. She's balancing 5 different relationships, one of them being Bob, 4 just other people.
This sounds exhausting.
It's nonstop. It's thousands of text messages, and she's carrying on different lives with each of them. There's a couple of these that are really interesting, and you start to see a pattern developing that she goes through this process with these new men that she's meeting about telling them about her horrible husband and his domestic violence history, and she just needs them to help her get rid of him. Phone. I suspect she was standing at the passenger door when this happened.
Right. Do you think she knows Marissa?
They should be cellies. Like, they would be the best cellies. They just be... I've investigated a lot of cases where the detective asks, "Did you see the gun?" And she's like, "Yeah, it was this long camouflage type gun." And they knew it was a shotgun at this point, just based on the... He was with her. He wasn't with her. She's kind of all over the place. The problem is when Chasey starts to lose weight. Bob's going to put one of his daughters in a very awkward position because she finds the burner phone. She goes through the phone, sees the text messages between her father and Chasey, and they are not PG-13. Like, firehouses kind of have a reputation when it
having
comes
groupies
to groupies. And I would say it's just they end up like little whorehouses, but no one's exchanging money, so it technically isn't a whorehouse.
There's
but
no red light on the front door.
Sometimes I bet there is. It can get pretty bad. So people have to understand a lot of firefighters will work a 24 to a 48-hour shift. So they eat, sleep, and breathe at the fire station when they're not on calls. So it's not uncommon for these groupies to hang out the fire station on a regular basis.
And there are a lot of single firemen.
There are a lot of single firemen, correct. Bob's not. He's married with 2 kids.
Oh, dear.
And he's 18 years older than Chasey. 18. Bob and Chasey start an affair. And that's why not a lot of information is known here, is Bob's being secretive. Not only is Bob being secretive, he's gone and got a second phone that he uses just for Chasey.
He got a burner.
He got a Chasey burner phone.
Bob.
What a lot of people don't realize is to hunt in this particular area of the White Mountains, it is considered probably the best hunt in the world for elk. The Apache tribe sells these hunts for almost $30,000. So you pay $30,000 and you get this hunt, but you also get the resources of the tribe. They come out, they scout, and they guide.
And what makes me more upset is that they don't even allow natives to hunt on their own land during the season.
Even if you're a member of the tribe, you can't even walk in that area. Just crossing the fence like we did and walking through that meadow, a Native American Apache tribe member would have the same
She's accusing me of poaching it over and over again. I'm like, how am I going to kill it with my bare hands?
Keep in mind, from where we were physically handcuffed, I could see the fence. That's the National Forest. The guy asked me, he's like, do you have a gun? And of course, my immediate response is, hell no. There's two places in the world I don't take guns, the reservation and Mexico.
She's accusing me of poaching it over and over again. I'm like, how am I going to kill it with my bare hands? And she had the audacity to look at me and be like, well, you just wouldn't believe how people kill elk out here. I'm like, well, they're not doing it with their bare hands. All I have is chapstick.
Chapstick?
Oh shit, my wife is pissed.
I was getting so mad at her because she
now I'm scared because I'm like, my wife is going to say some dumb shit that's going to get us both in jail.
Well, and she's like, no, you were here to kill an elk. And I was like, no, we weren't here to kill an elk. Well, you're being arrested for poaching. I'm like, well, isn't poaching when you kill an animal? And she's like, do you have any weapons on you? And I said, no, I don't have any weapons on you. So she does a full pat down. I have my little Vaseline chapstick. That's the only thing literally I had on me. She continues to tell me that I am under arrest for poaching. She must have told me like 6 or 7 times. And then she asks me, well, why are you in camo? And I'm like, another dumb question. Well, so the elk can't see me.
The same reason the guy who arrested me was in camo.
Right. And I'm like, well, because when you're bugling, you don't want the elk to see you. And she's like, well, you were harassing wildlife. And I'm thinking to myself, you're the one who drove up and scared them away and started yelling. Technically, you were.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
They got arrested for poaching?
She starts telling me, you are in so much trouble. And I'm like, okay. And I hear your guy talking to you at the same time, but...
Oh, my guy was screaming that I have no idea how much trouble I was in. He wanted to know where my weapons were. And I told him, I'm like, we don't have any weapons. And he is not, like, I'm handcuffed at this point, and he is not de-escalating. And finally, like, I had to tell him, I'm like, sir, we are going to do everything you're telling us. We are not armed. In fact, we're both prior law enforcement. You're going to get nothing but cooperation from us.
There's a potential that we could get shot right now. I'm going to get down on my knees. I'm going to get on my belly and I'm just going to...
But I'm not going to put my face in the dirt.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, I have my hands behind my back. I'm being a very good suspect. You know, I get into...
Properly place your wrist so it doesn't
wrist
hurt.
Position.
Makes it really easy to handcuff.
Yes. Whoever my officer is, it's very easy for them to detain me. She doesn't know how lucky she was. So I'm on the ground there. She gets me all cuffed up. And she is standing just about maybe 2 or 3 feet away from me. And she's like, wait, how old are you? I was a little stunned because first I was thinking, well, why does it matter how old I am? Then I was thinking, well, how old am I? Because I lie so often about my age that I couldn't remember in that moment in time.
I remember
like, how
the hesitation
old I was.
thinking, she doesn't know how old she is.
Yeah. Like, that's got to seem so ridiculous that I can't spit out my age right away, right? So I spit it out, and then she starts telling me, you are in so much trouble.
Candy canes are not sex toys, people. Don't do it. They cause terrible bacteria infections. They oftentimes have to be surgically removed. And this isn't just a female thing, males. Your urethra is not a place to put the candy cane. It's actually happening. Google it.
Socialite Crime Club.
Candy canes are not sex toys, people. Don't do it. They cause terrible bacteria infections. They oftentimes have to be surgically removed. And this isn't just a female thing, males. Your urethra is not a place to put the candy cane. It's actually happening. Google it. Candy canes are not sex toys, people. Don't do it. They cause terrible bacteria infections. They oftentimes have to be surgically removed. And this isn't just a... He gets a 6-year hunting suspension. The other thing that I love about wildlife people that regular law enforcement just hasn't figured out very well, when you get your hunting privileges suspended in one state for poaching, it gets suspended in 48 other states. He also got 5 years of probation, and then he got a 32-month suspended prison sentence. And what that means is, don't pay the $20,000, screw up your non-hunting suspension, or violate probation, you're going to prison for 2 years, 8 months. So
People don't have very much empathy or sympathy for people when it comes to killing animals.
It's funny you're saying that. Zach's racked up a heavy set of charges here. Felony big game poaching in Nevada, possession of an illegally killed big game head, a trophy, 3 misdemeanors for trespassing, he's on private property, using a...
Don't be a victim of holiday crime. Tips from Socialite Crime Club. Check your bank accounts often. Look for suspicious transactions that could be taking place in the middle of the night or...
A massive bull like this will get with a group of cows. He is the primary bull elk with these cows. And what John was ever able to show is by reviewing all of the footage from the rancher, this is the bull that's with this herd up until August 31st. In the elk world, antlers are a big deal. So when you start talking about world record elk, one of the ways that they look at this is...
Don't be a victim of holiday crime.
Don't steal baby Jesus from your nativity scenes around town. Kids are home for holiday break, they get bored, they go out and create havoc. So listen up, you little shitheads. Stealing baby Jesus has become so prolific that they're actually putting GPS trackers in them now. Don't steal baby Jesus from your nativity scenes around town. They will track you, they will arrest you.
Socialite crime.
A lot of people get all worked up like, oh, I don't want cops to have my phone number. Well, you know what? Hang on. This is data for good. And just so people realize, we're getting the serial numbers of the device. So it's not like I get your name. I don't get your phone number. Like I get the serial number. We're going to solve this poaching case with this information. There is one cell tower that services this area. This is perfect for a tower dump. And what a tower dump is law enforcement can write a search warrant saying, hey, a crime happened here at this time. And AT&T, we want all of the connections that were made to this tower during this time frame. In this case, the closest community has 1,000 residents. Like having maybe 100 phones registered to this cell site is a busy day. Farmer Joe, who lives down the street, his phone registers all the time. So we can get a big enough data set that I can look at and be like, okay, here's the 100 phones that we see connecting to the cell site all day long, all night long. They belong in the area. Here's a phone that we've... It's elk season in Nevada. It's archery season. So he's thinking he has what they call a waste case. And what a necropsy. A recent survey has shown a quarter of all people attending
They found
Christmas
an elk
holiday
with
parties.
a head missing. Listen to this.
A recent survey has shown a quarter of all people attending Christmas holiday parties for work will snog a fellow employee. Also, we have a couple of cases. Accidental deaths and even sexual assaults are not that uncommon. So keep your party classy.
Socialite Crime Club.
A recent survey has shown a quarter of all people attending Christmas holiday parties for work will snog a fellow employee. Also, we have a couple of cases.
I can't with these two. These two are... This is strange. This is strange. Where did the freaking tired of getting murdered after going to the strip club? What the fuck?
Don't you hate it when this happens to you? You go to a strip club and all of a sudden you're kidnapped, extorted, and murdered? I hate getting murdered. What's that, Stuart? You went to the strip club and you thought the dancer liked you? You thought she wanted to go home with you? And now you're here with me? Stupid boy. If you listen to Socialite Crime Club, you won't end up like Stewie. Take a listen now.
Socialite Crime Club. Socialite Crime Club is not responsible for any extortion, kidnappings, or murders that may happen. Socialite Crime Club can help you escape these situations, but cannot guarantee safety.
We're going to get into a couple homicides, but we're going to talk about date night. And it's kind of a cross between Bonnie and Clyde and natural born killers, where there's a couple who gets off on killing and they actually have date night.
These people are...
Men can be victims of domestic violence.
You hear the word domestic. The trial was a complete circus. The judge was not. So I'm going to lay down on my stomach and you're going to shoot me in my spine right at the small of my back. And Stan's a complete idiot, but even Stan's like, Marissa, there's a good chance that's going to kill you.
This isn't a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And she's like, no, I think it'll be okay. And the only gun they have at the time, because we seized a lot of guns, is apparently they came across an AK-47.
So she wants him to shoot her in the back with an AK.
Yeah, and even Stan's like, this is the dumbest Stan, I want you to shoot me.
Did he mention his doll collection?
No, and I didn't ask because I don't want to know. There's just
You
some
should have
no,
asked.
there's some things you can't unhear or unsee, and I don't want to know. Stop. I'm already like starting to obsess on it now. Okay, so more importantly, he's giving her $7,000 for a hitman weeks before Dale is attacked by her. So we go contact Travis Tatro. Travis is really into like some satanic devil worshipping lifestyle stuff. He's a bouncer at a very seedy strip club. He does kind of have this little daunting appearance, and he's into a lot of weird stuff. He is the most normal person we interviewed in this investigation. And he comes right out and he's like, yep, she came to me. She offered me $7,000 to kill her husband, Dale. And I said, wait, I don't understand. You want me to kill Dale? And she's like, yes, I don't know what you understand. Like, kill my husband, Dale. The same Dale that you told me died of stomach cancer 3 years ago?
Oh my God. What is her thing with stomach cancer?
I don't know. I haven't mentioned yet the porcelain doll collection.
He collects porcelain dolls.
In his master bedroom, he had a shelf that ran all the way around his room.
And there's just porcelain dolls?
Hundreds.
Like in boxes or on those
No.
little doll stands?
Like on little doll stands. It was creepy as shit. I didn't want to be in there. I was like, I'm not going to do this.
Did they all kind of like look similar or did they
No, just like every porcelain doll you could imagine.
That's creepy.
This is why it's awesome to be a sergeant. Is you walk into that room and you're like, nope, ain't doing this. You guys figure this out. I'll be outside.
Any of the women who were in some weird agreement with him, I would leave immediately.
I didn't see a lot of the video. I was repulsed immediately, but the little bits of video that I did see, the porcelain dolls were the
Part 2 of Hammer.
I'm good.
Sex slave contracts.
You know.
Between her and Alan?
It's not between Marissa, it's between all these other women. So he is contracting with these women where he hires them and then he wants to do all kinds of weird shit to them, but he doesn't want to go to jail or prison for doing it. So he makes them sign a contract
that they won't say anything or
and
sue
that they're
him.
consenting to it, where he's the master and they're the slave. Alan's into some freaky deaky shit.
And he is no Christian Grey.
No,
Like,
you mean the way he looks. So seekingarrangements.com, it's a sugar daddy site. And if you're not aware of a sugar daddy site, it's where very wealthy men will basically look for young, attractive females who are willing to have sexual relationships for compensation.
Hey, Carrie.
We as a police department have no idea the treasure trove of insanity that we just seized. But it's a big computer. We have to do it right. It has to go to a lab where it's forensically extracted. It takes about 3 weeks. Then I get a phone call from my computer forensic examiner, and I know him very well. The forensic examiner has found an Excel sheet, a very, very lengthy Excel sheet. The Excel sheet is titled Money Given to Marissa DeVault. It is an ongoing running ledger that Alan Flores was keeping for every dime, and actually every penny he ever gave to Marissa DeVault. And I'm telling you, there's entries in there. Oh. Why were you at Alan's house, Stanley? Well, because Marissa wanted Alan to proofread it. It was the most absurd interview ever. Stanley has also called law enforcement February 9th, sometime. Alan Flores, who is Marissa's dead stepfather's gay lover / real estate agent, although the real estate business doesn't exist, is still financially helping Marissa. You know, once you start pulling that string, we couldn't find.
He's got a lot of shorts on that case.
Is there
He was laying down, most likely asleep, when he was beat with a hammer.
Well, it's interesting you're saying that. Most men who are victims of intimate partner violence, which is also known as IPV, will be attacked when they're at their most vulnerable. Typically when they're asleep by they're attacked like this, it's typically by a female because the female doesn't have to worry about the being overpowered by strength.
For all intents and purposes, what I was seeing there matches what you just described, 100%. He was laying down. So when I walk in the room and I see all of this blood, and it's one of the bloodier scenes I'd worked in a long time. And within 10 minutes, I knew Marissa was full of shit. I was really into blood spatter. Not splatter, but spatter is the actual technical term. Mm-hmm. At this point, actually, I had testified as a blood spatter expert. And I was just really, really into blood spatter because you can tell what happened.
There's a whole story that a crime scene tells when there's blood everywhere. And it doesn't have to be everywhere. Just a few droplets can tell a very, very big story.
Yeah. His memory is like you tell him something, 5 minutes later, it's gone.
I thought that looked like a dwarf.
Stanley makes a comment.
You shot baby Jesus.
I shot baby Jesus. Like about a year after this case, the following Christmas, I'm working like a madman, running on very few hours of sleep. I wake up one morning about 3 o'clock and I'm convinced somebody was in my garage. Like I'm super tired. Like I can't see very well. I grab my gun. The way my garage door opens, I have to open it with my right hand to get in, but I shoot with my right hand. So I put my gun in my left hand and I go to open the door. Okay, they're gonna be right here. So I'm gonna do this really quick. So I slowly turn the knob. And then as soon as I feel it unclick, like I pull the door really hard. And there's this thing called sympathetic reflex.
Yes.
Where when you pull really hard with one hand, you accidentally will do it with the other hand.
Yes.
I fired my gun.
It didn't hit your car, did it?
No, thank God. I was being safe and I had my gun pointed down when I did it. But we had just taken down like all the Christmas stuff. There was this nativity scene. I crack open the box really quick and I start digging through it and I get to the bottom of where the bullet went. Baby Jesus.
You shot baby Jesus.
I shot baby Jesus.
Why do you think people are going to enjoy this episode?
This episode highlights what makes Socialite Crime Club different. This is a story that I supervised as a homicide sergeant, but it's a story that's already been covered. A handful of TV shows, and just about every news agency in the country's covered it. Today, I'm going to tell you the real story, one that can only be told by the detectives who worked the case, and they refer to it as Hammerside.
Welcome to
Jean-Claude goes back into court for his sentencing. And now at sentencing, victims have the right to appear in court and make a victim impact statement. Basically, they can address the court and they can say, well, what about the 3 different confessions you made? And he says, when you get cell phone records, especially cell phone records that contain
location information,
you have to have a search warrant, a probable cause search warrant. This is the same level of probable cause that it takes a SWAT team to blow your front door off of the hinges, put you down, face down at gunpoint, and search your underwear drawer. This is not easy to do.
And it's also, when law enforcement does request this type of information, it is hard to get a lot of data. Requesting more than 3 to 7 days is really difficult to do.
We have a lot of jurisdictions that if you get 3 or 4 days, that's actually pretty good. If you can get a month, that's great. This defense attorney and his expert are somehow going to convince the court to give them 6 months worth of data on the victim. They use a court order to AT&T to get a 6-month set of records on the victim from October 1st all the way to the day that the priest is arrested. Jean-Claude is arrested.
This is such an invasion of privacy.
When you get cell phone...
Really?
Rasavi is an attorney out of Florida. He's actually defended a prior priest sex abuse issue in South Beach. He's well known. And wait for it, he's private. He's expensive. Is
he a Catholic too?
He appears to be Catholic from what research I can find.
Okay.
Can't say how Catholic. Any idea how Jean-Claude is going to pay a private attorney of Rasavi's?
Jean-Claude cannot afford Rasavi.
Enter the Catholic Church. They are going to retain Rasavi on behalf of Jean-Claude. This is where this story is really going to piss me off. Well, it did piss me off. They are going to hire a cell phone expert by the name of John Sawicki.
That name sounds sinister too.
We got to explain to our listeners here. I would say search warrants to obtain cell phone records?
Very difficult.
So it's important for our audience to understand when you get cell phone records, especially cell phone records that contain
location information,
you have to have a search warrant, a probable cause. I don't know how he made bond. However, we are 129 days beyond the incident at this point. Okay. Miami-Dade police are finally making contact with her. They're going to interview her, and she gives them everything. This oil is also used in exorcisms.
Oh, Lord.
I'm not interested in just making another true crime podcast. I want to keep these episodes raw. We're not going to pull a lot of punches. I said that in the investigation. I would say that to any other investigator I explain this to, but I'm not going to say it on camera because there might be that person that I offend. And I feel like we need to talk about this just a little bit. A good detective has to have the ability to not let his or her investigation get hijacked by emotion. Problem with that is there's 2 kinds of detectives. Those who have had that happen and those who will have that happen.
Oh, Jesus.
Welcome to Socialite Crime Club.
On behalf of myself and the church, I am truly sorry for the pain and hurt.
Well, new tonight, a priest accused of an unholy act.
64-year-old Jean-Claude Philippe's
denying any rape accusations.
Parishioners I spoke with were shocked to hear of the disturbing allegations.
It is what he's accused of doing to a parishioner right here in this building that has placed him behind bars.
So they think it's unfair about his location?
Why do you think people are going to like this episode?
I'm going to
Paris actually talks about, and I have a whole new respect for her because I never really...
Are you so stupid as a cop that you are calling me to ask me if we're teaching doctors how to whack kids off? Well, he sounded really convincing, and he's like, no, God, no, would we ever do that? Like,
you're the dumbest cop in America.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, he duped me.
But at the same time, though, you still have to verify that statement because had it come up in trial as a defense and you didn't check into it, you had been screwed.
At this point, I'm like, okay, now we're going to go arrest this guy. We get to the house. Let's go arrest this guy. So we drive. Some parents start coming forward because they're hearing these stories. It prompts an investigation. At the time, I was one of the only people.
Hold on.
If you want to hear true crime, Socialite Crime Club is our goal to helping you understand what it sounds like.
We're going to give it to you raw. We're going to give it to you just like we would tell our friends. And I get that may not be for everybody, and that's okay. Yeah. But we're still going to tell the story, and it's going to be a fun story to tell.
From our perspective of things.
Socialite Crime Club.
If you want to hear...
My starting pay as a cop was $10.17 an hour.
My story started within law enforcement when I was pretty young, actually. I remember having conversations around the dining table with my parents about college and what I would be studying. And I remember one conversation, my dad said, you should go into criminal justice because you'll always have a job.
Sound advice.
Which is true. I would always have a job. I could pretty much do anything within the field that I wanted to. But pickings sometimes get slim when you realize what the pay is like and what you're actually doing.
My starting pay as a cop was $10.17 an hour. We were having hundreds of candidates.
I'm going to tell you a story about Billy. Billy was asleep in his bed in his house around 4 a.m. when he woke up to this mammoth man grabbing him by the ankles and pulling him out of his bed. At the same time, a second gigantor man is behind him, grabs his hands, forces him behind his back, handcuffs him, and they put a hood on him. They whisk him out of the house into a van that is parked on the curb waiting. From there, about 30 hours, he's driving in this van, handcuffed, hooded. Today, I'm going to tell you Billy's story.
Welcome to Socialite Crime Club. Everybody wants to do true crime until it's time to do true crime. There are things that the person who doesn't actually get to see the blood and guts of everything literally that might not really understand the necessity of the sympathetic removal that has to come in when you work those cases all the time.
And I think that's another perspective that we're going to do our best to bring to this podcast is when we say true crime. Well, true crime is well beyond simply telling a story. It is involvement in the case from the onset, from the 911 call to the physical investigation, to the follow-up investigation, to preparing it for court, to seeing it through court, your interactions with the victim's family through that whole process, your interactions with a prosecutor, your interactions with defense attorneys, what happens post-conviction.
The point we really want to drive is if you want to hear true crime, Socialite Crime Club.
Could you imagine some like dude dressed in a suit, like Men in Black type thing, dressed in a suit and knocks on the door? He flashes this very federal looking badge. He's like, hello, ma'am. I'm Agent Medeiros, FDA.
I don't even cook. I think you're looking for my husband.
The FDA actually has federal agents.
Okay.
They do have law enforcement capacity. So in this case, we're going to have the FDA flex a little bit, and they're going to take this liquid and get it tested. And they're going to come back and say, this is silicone. We can't tell you what grade it is because silicone can be contaminated at different times. Like, was it contaminated by wee-wee? Was it contaminated when it was injected into the victim? We don't.
She's very shiny in that photo.
Oh, no, that's all natural. That's a Kardashian shine. The day the internet broke, Kim Kardashian does a photo shoot.
Hi, Kim.
And you know, I heard about this, but I never looked at it. I've never been a big Kardashian fan. A magazine named Paper does a photo shoot with Kim Kardashian that's digitally published on the internet, and the Paper magazine breaks the internet with Kim Kardashian's butt.
She's very shiny in that photo.
Oh, no, that's all natural. That's a Kardashian shine. It's actually what made... Law enforcement cannot manipulate a dead body. Like, I can show up on a scene and I can be like, that person's dead. But technically, if I start touching and moving and manipulating that body, it's illegal. I had this sergeant once, and we're on the scene. This dude got shot. There's these bullet holes, and he's looking at it, and he's like, That's a 38. I was a young detective at the time, and I'm thinking, wow, this guy's amazing. And he's sitting there looking, and I'm like, well, how do you know? And he's got a pair of gloves on, and he takes his pinky and he sticks it into the bullet hole, and he pulls his finger out, and he's like, yep, 38.
What an idiot.
He's completely full of shit. Like, bullets do a lot of crazy things before they hit somebody sometimes, and the difference between a 38 and a 9mm, like, you literally have to have, like, this crazy tool. I'm going to tell you a story about a cold, callous killer. And in spite of her identity being known to law enforcement, she will go on to claim more victims in the future than she has the past. And there's nothing anybody... I'm going to tell you a story about a cold, callous killer. And in spite of her identity being known to law enforcement, she will go on to claim more victims in the future than she has the past. And there's nothing anybody...
Tomorrow is the day we are excited to release Nothing But a Butt Thing, the first episode of Socialite Crime Club. You can join us in studio on YouTube or listen to us on Spotify, Google, iHeart.
You're invited to indulge in exceptional storytelling.
We've come full circle.
Delight your insatiable desires for scandalous schemes, disgraceful deeds, secret soirees, and criminal conspiracies. Join Cy and Carrie Ray, former investigators, as they uncover grisly details from real criminal cases they've worked on. Socialite Crime Club, Recounting Misdeeds, a weekly true crime podcast. Premieres November 1st, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
We also have a pretty peachy sticker that I think people are going to really love and build some anticipation.
Love your
for episode
natural
1.
ass.
In episode 1, Nothing But a Butt Thing comes out the first week of November, and we are going to profile criminal investigations that we have been involved with through the investigative process in one capacity or another, and we're going to retell these stories from the investigator's
Okay, you guys need, if you missed the candy cane one, that was probably the most disturbing. I can't watch any more of this, but I'm going to play that candy cane one again. These two are very, very over sexual, in my opinion. I can't even believe they have so many. How cops ID your phone through phone picture data. Teenager's essay confession. Here we go. It only has 388 views. And he has it hashtagged holiday season. Are y'all ready?
Candy canes are not sex toys, people. Don't do it. They cause terrible bacteria infections. They oftentimes have to be surgically removed. And this isn't just a female thing, males. Your urethra is not a place to put the candy cane. It's actually happening. Google it.
There you go. There is Bryan Kohberger's star witness. So somebody just said that Judge is going to allow. Oh my God. I know you guys, you can't make it up. He's going to allow this. Let me see if there's a new filing. Someone said that that Judge is going to allow the continuation of the surveys. So let's go here and take a look at the cases. I've had enough of him. He is disturbing, and so is his wife, in my opinion. But I think that they may put him on the stand. I mean, how else are they going to decide if they're going to use his shit or not for Kohberger? They're going to have to hear him out, and he's going to get paid buku bucks, like someone else said. I don't know who said that, but it's a little crazy in my opinion. All right, let's go down to Kohberger. and his long-ass docket. His docket goes for miles. Judge watches his podcast. Now, why in the hell? Yep. Order. Okay, wait. Amended order setting briefing schedule hearing date for change of venue. When do we have another hearing? Let's see. Amended order setting briefing schedule and hearing date for change of venue. Based on the April 10th, 2024 hearing, the court orders the following. A hearing on defendant's motion for change of venue will be held on June 27th. Oh my God. Now we're to the end of June, guys. We're to the end of June and they're arguing about change of venue. Oh my God in heaven. It will be on June 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific. The hearing will be in person, open to the public, and streamed on the court's YouTube channel. Defendant's opening brief, witness list, and any evidence the defense wishes to present in support of the motion for change of venue must be filed by May 31st. The state's response brief, witness list, and any evidence in opposition of that motion must be filed by June 14th, and any response from the defendant must be filed by June 20th. So Judge finally wrote in the sand, boom, we've got dates, but we're not going to hear about this motion to change venues until the end of June. That's frustrating. And now there is an order also allowing the defense surveys to continue. Let's listen why he's going to let this continue. On March 22nd, 2024, the state filed a sealed motion for order prohibiting further contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court. The same day, defendant Bryan Kohberger filed an objection to the state's motion with the promise of forthcoming affidavit and memorandum in support of the objection. Thank you, Missy, for gifting 5 whole memberships. And welcome new members. Victorian, La-Di-Da, Inner Space, Kimberly Bixby, and Bunny. Bunny. Welcome, guys, and thank you so much. Missy. The court then entered a temporary order prohibiting both parties from contacting potential jurors, and a hearing was set on April 4th. In the interim, the defense filed a memorandum. We know all this. On April 4th, the hearing was open to public. The defense argued that the questions in the survey were based on information obtained by defense expert Brian Edelman from reading and watching various news articles. The defense argued that the public record and blah, 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 blah. On April 10th, the parties reconvened again in open court, which we watched. After a lengthy hearing, the parties remained at odds over whether the 9 questions at issue should be allowed to be asked in surveys conducted by the defense in other counties. The court now orders the following. The public record, as that term is used in the non-dissemination order, means the public record, i.e., information from public hearings and from documents filed in the case that are not sealed. 2, information that formed the basis for the 6 of the 9 questions at issue came from the probable cause, a document filed in this case that is not sealed. Additionally, one of the questions was not based on admissible or inadmissible evidence, but instead asked about the feelings of members of the Moscow community. Therefore, the defense did not violate the non-dissemination order by asking 7 of the 9 questions. As to the remaining 2 questions, prior to the hearings, there was not information contained in the public record about these media items. However, these questions have now been read into the public record and discussed at length during the hearings, including the fact that these media items may not be true. Because the information is now in public record, the court does not see any benefit in preventing the defense from continuing its surveys or requiring that the 2 questions at issue be eliminated. Again, these questions and media items are now part of the public record, and the non-dissemination order does not prohibit the attorneys involved or their agents from making extrajudicial statements about information contained in the public record. And number 4, the non-dissemination order also allows extrajudicial statements that a reasonable lawyer would believe is required to protect a client from the substantial, undue, prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. Any such statement shall be limited to such information as is necessary to mitigate the recent adverse publicity. Defense counsel argued at length that the 2 media items not contained in the public record were the subject of extensive media coverage that was prejudicial to defendant, and that the survey questions asking potential jurors if they had read, seen, or heard these media items was necessary to support defendant's motion for change of venue. The goal of the non-dissemination order is to ensure a fair and impartial jury can be impaneled so the defendant receives a fair trial. If defense counsel believes asking these survey questions, which arguably contain prejudicial information or misinformation about the defendant, is more beneficial than harmful. As defendant's expert testified, this court does not, at this juncture, have sufficient information or evidence to second-guess that strategic decision by trial counsel. 6, the court's order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors until further order of court is lifted, and the defense may continue its surveys without modification. What's up, Jackie, 13th juror? It's been a while. Is lifted, and the defense may continue its surveys without modification to the survey questions. Any extrajudicial statements by any attorneys involved in this case or their agents must continue to comply with the non-dissemination order. Signed on the 19th of April and filed on the 22nd today. So they will go on with their survey, and then in June, we'll have the change of venue hearing, where they will bring their evidence. They're going to bring it all in. They're going to bring this guy back, right? And they're going to go over if there is a way that he cannot get a fair trial in Latah County.
I'm going to get drunk and ride my horse.
That's what this whole case makes me want to do, guys. So that is the latest in the filings. Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate whoever, I can't remember who that was that brought that up today. But thank you. That was good timing. Man, I don't know, Diana. That's a good question. Diana says, will he set a trial date on the 27th? I think he'll have a hard time deciding if it's gonna move from Latah County, because he has a hard time making decisions. It's good to see you. Make sure you guys check out our merch store. We've got our 420 merch, and it is cute. It is cute. It's definitely getting dragged on. Stephanie B., thank you for buying some merch yesterday. I don't know if you were here earlier. I thanked you for buying your 420 t-shirt. You're going to have to send me a pic when you get it. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up for today. We are live at 7 o'clock with Daybell Highlights. I hope you guys will join in. It's pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. It's a total game. All right, well, I'm going to go get some dinner, guys. I'm going to eat, get my shit together, and I'll see you guys back here at 7 for Daybell Highlights. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, moderators, for being here. All the members, membership gifting. You are about to get thanked in the credits. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you tonight. be sure to check out my other videos and playlists for more true crime content. And if that's not enough, you can join our Patreon. Don't have a tinfoil hat? It's okay. We'll make you one. It's that easy. See you guys in the next video.
See you later. Bye.
I don't give a damn. I don't
Ain't nobody got time for that.
About you and your problems. I don't give a damn.
Oh my God. God forbid. God forbid.
About you and your problems. I don't give a damn.
Jennifer loves horses.
What you are witnessing is real. The participants are not actors.
Going to the clinker, the big house. Diarrhea the
I feel something real, but I'm feeling differently. You're making plans to get to France, but don't wanna face the fact.
Bryan Kohberger.
I ain't got time for that. Staying up late, sleeping all day, dreaming about Cadillacs. Buying new shoes, hanging by the pool.
One Jennifer or two Jennifers?
Jennifer loves horses.
Thanks so much, Jennifer.
Bye, Jennifer.